did. And
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quickie and handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen. Joining me, as always, blacked out today, Mr. Andy Molitor, and to help us fill out the final day of the week here, Mr. Matt Rooney joining us, pretty in pink. How you doing, Andy? How you doing, Matt?
good. Yeah, not blacked out until this evening. Once I get into the bourbon. It might rain, which sucks, but boy, it's another one of those like nice fall days where boy, it would be good to just have a bonfire, eat like maybe one too many gummies, wash that down with the bourbon, some NyQuil chicken, just get super ripped.
NyQuil chicken?
I feel like yesterday was really that first day where we finally got the fall weather. I don't know about you guys. I know Noops are a little bit farther east, but like it had been trying. It had been like low 70s. And then yesterday I woke up, went downstairs to go get coffee outside, and it was like, oh, it's 55 degrees. I need a hoodie and joggers. This is awesome. I loved it. This is my favorite kind of weather.
Do you know what it is, Matt? I mean, you live in the city where this weather is only possible. It's Bears weather.
It is bear weather.
It is bear weather. But we'll get a little NFL. That Bears game is going to be truly horrific this week. Probably.
Hey, we're going to be fine. It's the lovey revenge game.
It's a Bears game. Anything's
another lovey revenge game.
All the lovey revenge games. Maybe they should. That's a good chance for the Bears to win. Maybe they should play Illinois. I think the
Bears are 1-1, Andy.
Minus 18.
We beat the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, you just need our monsoon every week. But no, I would.
We played in it
minus 18 and a half. Bears over Illinois right now.
This isn't fair because you're not a fan of any team, so I can't give it back. You need to adopt fandom so I can give you shit.
Somebody
I want to give you shit about the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, but I can't because you don't care anymore.
People have tried that in the comments. Like somebody hit me on Twitter, like, oh, they just dug into Kirk Cousins. I'm like, oh no.
That's why this is so frustrating to me because my teams kind of stink, and you just don't root for anybody. So I can't.
I'm a Timberwolves fan. I'm back.
All right, cool. Yeah. Then that's what we'll.
Yeah,
you
dog on the
crap about.
Dog on the Timberwolves, although I'm gonna go to a few games. I enjoy.
That is a great hat and a great logo.
Oh, it is such a good hat. I love this one. I bought this at the arena, which means I've overpaid for it. But yeah,
you're a Wild fan too, Andy. You got to be a Wild fan.
I'm more of a Gopher hockey fan.
Fair enough.
That's actually a good team. But yeah, let's.
Still owe me a Blackhawks game, by the way.
I will be down. I'll be down in Chicago this winter. I want to go back to my favorite restaurant, the Wiener.
Doesn't know hockey.
The Wiener Circle. I know, and I lived in college. I lived in a house with like 4 hockey players from the team. Like I went to all the hockey games just because it was fun, and we'd have a kegger afterwards. Still don't understand all the rules. I do understand baseball, and that's been another frustration of me in my personal life, as my daughter is now 3 weeks into her first season of softball, and boy, God, watching kids and base running is again a living nightmare. As we did turn a double play because a pop out to our pitcher. She could have crawled to second base as their batter or their runner from second was basically home at that point. Just absolutely rounding. I don't know. It's youth softball.
Oh, I don't know. I remember playing baseball. It was always in the spring.
There's sports 12 months a year now.
It is goofy, but I will be probably watching more baseball as I try to like explain the rules to my daughter. It's easier to like do situational stuff on the TV. Plus, then I can just watch sports. But let's bet on some baseball, Matt. You have a cute parlay today. I love this one.
I think are we going that first? Or are we doing Celtics first? Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, shit. We do got to talk about the.
We got to talk about the Celtics.
The sexy Celtics. I just wanted I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I don't want to mitigate. I don't want to litigate the entire ordeal. I don't want to go through the ordeal. We've all done it. It's going to be all over sports media today. I want to talk about the betting odds. Noops, in your opinion, does this affect the team long term this year? And are all these prices bad now as far as like it's a huge distraction? You have probably a lesser coach. You have the Robert Williams thing right off the bat. Like, are all these odds incredibly short compared to where they should be now?
It's going to be a fascinating case study on the impact of a coach, because you go from Ime Udoka, arguably coach of the year, one of the better coaches in the NBA. Yeah, folks, Andy's not going to be talking about this. One of the better coaches in the NBA. He's gone. He's made an incredible impact on this team. He is a big part of the reason that they were able to make the finals last year. But even coming into this year, there was a lot of strange stuff. To lose the finals like that when, you weren't necessarily a favorite, but a lot of people thought you could come in, take that team out without too much effort, and almost the exact opposite of what would happen. A lot of questions about their big stars like Jason Tatum and those guys. And now they come into the season. There's a new guard, Malcolm Brogdon there. A lot of talk about whether or not Jaylen Brown was going to be traded. You look at the start of the season, Sixers, Heat, then a 2-game road trip, Cavs, they have to play twice, right back to the Bulls twice there. It's going to be a really tough start to the season. And talked a little bit about this yesterday before we knew. I mean, he's gone. He's out for the year. So first thing is we need to see who steps in. I don't think Brad Stevens is going to be coming back down from the front office. Looks like one of the assistant coaches is going to be taken over. So I guess what I would say here is I don't think that I agree with the movement on some of these numbers. That total 54.5 has been coming down. There's probably even a 52.5 somewhere like that. That doesn't quite hold water with me. I think that a coach matters. It might be a little funky at the beginning of the season, but at the end of the day, these are professionals. It's the same team. And I guess if you thought the Celtics were going to be a little bit down after losing the finals last year, sure, fine. Feel free to kind of dump on a little bit more, but I'm actually going to lie in wait here and see how the first month or so of the season goes. If things start to get a little bit better, if whoever that coach is can kind of hold the team down and get them through the first month, then I'll be jumping on Celtics wagers. I think it's going to be this opens up a good opportunity for us to buy low on the Celtics, probably like middle of November, right around Thanksgiving. It'll be a good time to look and maybe grab some Celtics stuff. But for now, I'm just going to wait, let the market do what it's going to do. But I overall don't think it's going to be that big of a difference.
Disappointing answer. I wanted actionable content now, but no, I think you're probably right. That's where I lean with anything like this. Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, anybody who says like, "Oh, I'm betting the under," if they win, they're lucky. They don't know. They're fucking guessing. They're flailing, tilting at windmills, lying to you. I appreciate your honesty, and I think you're right. And we will kind of keep an eye on this. If it turns out like, hey, this guy's a smart coach. He's using the bench well. His rotations are good. The coming out of timeouts, they look sharp. Like maybe this is a buy team, and maybe old can't keep it in his pants gets fired at the end of the year after all.
I would be surprised if Ime Udoka returns to this team. Again, there's a lot coming out. I guess the only piece of advice I'll say is if you're going to have a relationship with someone that you work with, make sure you tell your superior beforehand first, and probably don't bang the vice president's wife. That's just generally, I mean, it's probably not as obvious as don't have sex with the cleaning lady, but it should be close.
Real quick aside to there, because I didn't do this, but I thought I did for about 5 minutes. When I was a younger man, I went to a wedding for one of the most beloved workers at our work. He's a really good guy. He married someone else from work. Everybody was there. It was a small company, but I mean, it was still like there was an owner, there was a president, and they even showed up. I mean, everybody came. I got blackout drunk. Just can't remember how the night ended. Walked home, didn't have a cell phone when I woke up, never found that. But people knew I was blackout drunk. And one of the ladies who liked to mess with me told me that I was out on the dance floor at the end of the night, just grinding on the owner's wife. And like she, very convincing woman. She used to do this to me all the time, mess with me, and really, really had me in a bad place for about 10 minutes till she felt bad. But yes,
she's
like
great.
you should feel a terrible sense of dread if you do something like that for real. And I don't know, this we'll see how this all hatches out. And let's go from the negativity that's affecting sports this week to the positivity. Even if we're positively sure one of these men is positive for any drug under the sun, and a corked bat.
Let 'em
It's still
do it.
fun. I don't
It's
give a
still
shit.
fun.
Yeah, it's
Let them
so
all take
fun.
PEDs. I miss it. Let's bring back
The
McGuire and
most fun
Sosa.
time in
I want
baseball.
75 home runs a year. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yes,
The most fun
exactly.
time in baseball history were those McGuire,
more
Griffey,
runs.
Sosa home run chases. Who cares if they were juiced? Just
That
let 'em
was
do
the
it
most
again.
fun. So, but
We need like
yeah,
legal
your
steroids.
parlay.
Give us like a list of like 3 approved legal steroids that everybody could take.
HGH seems to be fine. Come
Yeah,
on.
that's fine. Peyton Manning did it. He turned out just fine. I do have some MLB bets though today. It's getting really hard down the stretch to. It's similar to with hockey bets that I was given towards the end of the year. Like when all these things are settled, when all these division races are settled, it's kind of hard to find who's going to have motivation, which teams are going to come out and actually like play, which teams are kind of just on cruise control until the playoffs. Brewers are in a spot where they're chasing 2.5 games from the Phillies. The Phillies are at Atlanta, home against Atlanta for 3 more this weekend. They did beat Atlanta last night, but that's a tough matchup for Philly. Milwaukee is really in a spot where they need to take at least 2 more against the Reds, if not all 3. They have Eric Lauer on the mound, who's fine. He's got an ERA just under 4, but they're going up against Mike Minor of the Reds, who's just been absolutely terrible this year. He's got a ERA up over 6. He's got a whip over 1.6, so that he's been very, very bad. And the Brewers are in a spot where they're still chasing in that wild card race. So they're one of the few teams that you can look at and feel comfortable betting on because you know they have something to play for against a pretty bad team in Cincinnati. And then why not? It's Friday night. Aaron, there's no day baseball, so I want to come up with something fun here. Judge and Pujols both have games tonight, both going up against softer tossing lefties, Pujols and Andrew Heaney, Judge and Rich Hill. Plus, it'd be pretty fitting for Major League Baseball if Judge tied the record on Apple TV with like 12 people watching. So that's I think Pujols. I think these odds are actually up to like plus 1,600 now on FanDuel. Pujols like plus 430, Judge is around plus 200. So I think it's, if you check FanDuel, check around for the best price you can find on the parlay. But I think it's around plus 1,600 now. Why not? Let's have some fun with the Pujols at 698, Judges at 60. Let's parlay them and see if they can both go deep.
I like a home run parlay.
Why not?
For sure.
I know I'm a sucker for a big number.
Making hits. Oh, look at me. I'm the big man on campus right now. Am I going to talk now?
I love how the green bet in your hoodie blends in with the green screen and the background is on your hoodie. I always love that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But no, we're still playing in Tokyo. Unfortunately, my Muga Ruthless lost this morning. I'm guessing action is pretty much done for the day in the Far East. And Noops will have some bets for overnight. If you like Friday night baseball, you're going to love Saturday 3 a.m. tennis. And again, these are just set it and forget it. You don't have to get up and try to find a stream to watch Tokyo tennis. You just bet this and then wake up and take that money and reinvest it in college football tomorrow.
It's a great idea. I don't see any problem with it at all. I mean, I guess if you're on the West Coast, you could stay up late. I mean, if you wanted to stay up till 10 at night watching Tatiana Maria Alexandrova, you could do it. I don't know if it's the best idea in the world, but a couple plays for us tonight. Kudermetova, Zhang, Qinyan Zhang, kind of like her in this matchup, but priced very tightly, and another great opportunity for us to take first set over 9.5. Again, I'll be stacking this up 10.5, 12.5 if I can find it. All looks really good. Zhang, a great over player, as is Kudermetova. The total here for the full match at 21.5. Seeing it move up even closer to 22. There's been some very long matches in Tokyo. The courts are quick, very conducive to tiebreakers. Love this first set over. And then Tatiana Maria, just the money line. Oftentimes I'll take the game spread or something like that and put it together, but she goes up against Ekaterina Alexandrova, and I think that it's a position where Alexandrova really puts her away comfortably, or Tatiana Maria can find the creativity, can throw enough slices at her to win this match outright. It's kind of a funky dynamic. Again, the handicap here is right around 4.5. But when I was running my numbers, and there's often a correlation between money lines and spreads when you look at the market, it's one of the things that I try to look more into and understand better. But when I ran my numbers here, I had this money line closer to plus 180, although I had the spread pretty much right where it is at 4.5 right now. So again, I think it speaks to the dynamic of how this match is going to go. We'll have some pretty quick sets here if Alexandrova is playing her best tennis and is not bothered, by the creative, interesting game of Maria here. So give me just the money line there. And again, the first set over. Both of these will be late tonight. If you are on the West Coast, you could stay up till midnight and watch both.
I probably won't, but I do have a Cooter Matova, a Cooter future, Cooter outright, Cooter quarter. That was the fun one when I took a Cooter quarter in the most recent Grand Slam that was held in New York State. But this is a long ways from there, and I like her, and more importantly, my friend Vinny liked her, so I wanted some outrights out in these overnight tournaments. Like I said, I think I had a Muguruza one. That one fell, but I'll be cheering for Cooter Matova and a nice long first set at least. Football, I got a Bay Area double dip if one of these teams still played in the Bay Area, which has always been a problem for me. I can't ever adjust when a team moves. I said St. Louis Rams for honestly probably into last year, but Raiders are now in Las Vegas. I tried to pick some totals and sides that are still within a decent range. I'm not going to say, hey, I bet the Packers under 45 because that number's not available. There has been some buyback. You can get a 42 if you still like an under there, but I tried to pick a couple that are still, bettable for you, for yours. If you want to take some of these, if you want to tail some action for the weekend, the Raiders take on the Tennessee Titans. Again, keeping an eye on injury reports, but with the Taylor Lewan injury, with the injuries at the pass rush for the Titans and continued injuries in the secondary, kind of a horrible matchup. Even at home, the Raiders are not a bad team. They've just had some fairly tough opponents, and even when they did look good, they kind of let the Cardinals in the back door. They deserved to win that game. They were winning that game heavily at halftime. They were up big late. It just took a bunch of unfortunate events, on a series of unfortunate events. I believe that's a book, for them to lose that game. Nice bounce back spot against a really bad team. Honestly, I think the Titans may be in for a very long season here, as they've not done anything to address the getting rid of AJ Brown. And then the Niners, another team that's a weird one. They played in a monsoon week 1, which made it very hard to evaluate that performance, especially since the Bears' probably only strength is the pass rush. And it's hard in a game like that to pass block or even run block. Honestly, Bears were getting good penetration on the front there, and the Niners had a bad day. The Niners, obviously, the next week lost their quarterback. Now we're in with the Jimmy G show. I would be worried about this with other teams having to go from the quarterback they planned to use all year to the quarterback they plan to trade. But it's a good coaching staff. Shanahan's maybe the best offensive mind in the league at times. I'm not worried about them. I'm sure they have just this old folder in the office. I talked about this. Like, just go pull the folder from 2019. Let's go run that game plan. Like, it worked. Hey, we still have a decent defense. We have plenty of offensive weapons. And again, another short road favorite. It's a tough place to play, going up to altitude to play at Denver. But I make this line closer to 3. Denver has shown me absolutely nothing. Obviously, everybody's shitting on their coach, rightfully so. The coordinating from him, calling plays, and the defense has been kind of rough. And I think the Niners and Raiders both win by margin. Maybe not so much on their own merits. I don't think either of them will be a threat in either of their respective conferences to really do anything playoff time. But they're the kind of teams, they're that Mendoza line. Like, hey, this is a better than average team. Even on the road, they should beat bad teams like this. So looking for fucking parlay them. I don't care. But I'm going to lay the points with both of these. As long as they're under 3, I'm still happy with these.
I can dig it.
Yeah, and if you want more, we did a whole damn deep dive. Did an hour and a half. Every single game, there's timestamps. If you don't want to watch an hour and a half of me yapping with Drew, there's timestamps. Click on the game you want to look at. And right now, they're on the same YouTube channel.
It's also right there on betspurts.com.
Yeah.
I think it's the lead article. Good old betspurts.com.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere, guys. All right.
Is that the Sunday night game, the Niners-Broncos?
It is.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Dan says it is. Dan's giving us
the Monday. I was mixing up. I thought Dallas, New York was. That is the Monday night game. Ugh. I just had to clear my throat. All right, take me home, Matt, with some college football tomorrow. Because
did you bet the Gophers bet last week? Did you bet a minus 27.5? They covered that one.
Actually, forgot. I forgot you talked me into betting it.
Oh yeah.
and then somebody else put me on it, so I bet it twice.
Good.
So go
happy
Gophers.
They got an interesting one this week.
we should
They got an
just
interesting one this weekend.
keep playing horrible teams. It's so much
Well, they
fun.
play Michigan State. Michigan State might be horrible. We're not really sure about that one yet. We're also not really sure about Minnesota because they also really they've dominated every game they've been in, but they really haven't played anybody yet either. It's going to be – they should be able to run the ball a little bit, but Tanner Morgan's going to actually have to throw against Michigan State this week. And if he can do that, they'll probably win, but we'll see. He hasn't really proven he can do that consistently. I do have 3 college football bets here for you. They do not involve Minnesota, and oddly enough, they actually involve the Big 12, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
First off, we're going to start with the game of the week, where game day should be. 2 college football blue bloods, Kansas and Duke, both 3-0. It's a blue blood showdown in Lawrence, Kansas. This line was at like 8.5, 9 earlier in the week. It was 7.5 yesterday. Now that Kansas is down to just the touchdown, I really like taking them minus the 7. Duke is 3-0, and I don't want to call it a fake 3-0, but they've beaten Temple, they've beaten Northwestern, who is just god awful, and they've beaten North Carolina A&T, whereas Kansas has beaten Houston, and why am I blanking on the other Big 12 team? I have it right here. Houston and West Virginia, in back-to-back weeks. And they've put up 48 and 55 points in those 2 wins. So they're not really a fluke 3-0. They're playing really, really good football. They're a very good, well-coached team. They have a quarterback in Jalen Daniels who's as dual threat as anybody in the country. He's very, very good, runs that offense really well. So I really like Kansas at home in this spot to go out and kind of blow the doors off Duke. I think win this one pretty easily. They've had slow starts in the last couple weeks. If they can avoid that against Duke, I just don't see Duke being able to keep up with Kansas, which is just a really, really weird thing to say. Talking about college football. I've talked about this on the Blogger Bowl a little bit. I couldn't find the line today, even though I found it earlier in the year, oddly enough. Wanted to throw in a Kansas basketball and Kansas football money line parlay against Duke. Kansas and Duke play in that whatever preseason or opening season tournament. I think it's at the United Center. I forget the name of the tournament, whatever, that one that's always playing before the first college football reveal show. Wanted to throw that in, wasn't able to get it, but once that pops up, I will be, if that pops up before tomorrow, I will be placing it. And then Oklahoma and Kansas State. Kansas State's been a little bit of a boogeyman for Oklahoma in years past. Oklahoma's been the better team for a while. I really think, though, after what we saw against Nebraska, that this is just a different Oklahoma team under Brent Venables. They play defense. They seem to have a little bit of a tougher mindset, a better attitude. I don't think they start slow. This line was 14.5 earlier this week. Now it's all the way down to 12 now that we're under the 2 touchdowns. I think Oklahoma's rolling. I think they showed us against Nebraska that they're a really, really good football team, and it's in a different way than it was under Lincoln Riley. They play physical. They do score a lot of points. They're pretty dynamic on offense, but they're not really one-dimensional. And on the defensive side of the ball, they are physical, and they will punish you. They're going up against Adrian Martinez, who's Kansas State's quarterback. He was Nebraska, so they're quite familiar with him from last year. I like Oklahoma in this one, I think, fairly easily. And then I'm going Baylor +2 and the money line at Iowa State. Both teams kind of because Iowa State was tested at Iowa. They won that one 10-7, kind of unimpressively. But going in there against that Iowa defense, yeah, they won, but it wasn't really all that impressive of a win. Baylor did lose to BYU on the road in a really tough spot in overtime. I like Baylor. I like how well coached they are under Dave Aranda. Matt Campbell hasn't been that good at home as a favorite against ranked opponents. So I like Baylor +2 and the money line at Iowa State here. And that is, I guess, my unintentional Big 12 betting card this week. You guys going to bet Kansas with me? You guys want to bet the Jayhawks?
I'll bet Kansas. So I had somebody in Vegas. I should shout out Brinks, our guy, Mamba Brinks. He put me on Kansas straight the fuck up. And if you talk me into a bet at 10:30 in the morning on a Friday, I'll probably bet it. But if you talk me into a bet at like midnight in Vegas after I've been drinking all day, I'll certainly bet it. I'll bet it with some gusto.
You're gonna bet it like 4 times.
So I went and checked. I'm like, oh, I bet Kansas is an outright, like 4-1 outright here. What were we doing last night? And then the second half started. They were down 14. I just kind of stopped paying attention. And then I went to the South Point, and fuck it, it was overtime. I said, hey, here we go now. That was very, very fun overtime. So
yeah,
I'm a
they're
Jayhawks
a fun,
fan
good
for life
football
now.
team. They're a good football team. They're fun to watch. Jalen Daniels is a really, really fun, electric quarterback. He can throw, he can run. It's their leading passer, obviously, and their leading rusher. He kind of does it all. He's fun.
Yeah, they haven't been fun since they had that ginormous dude as a coach.
Yeah, Mangino. Eric Mangino.
Just the giant tracksuit.
Oh, yeah.
Love that guy.
He had the big Kansas Letterman's jacket. It was a big size.
Yeah, he was a full grown man. So, all right, Matt, thanks for hopping on, talking some CFB Noops. Best of luck overnight. Best of luck with the weekend. Anything fun that you're doing, I hope it's awesome. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it easy. Take it easy. You know what I got to do? That's why I was gone the other day. I was getting new countertops. They told you had to take everything out of your cabinets. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting everything back in my cabinets because I just have a fucking disaster.
Why do you have to take things out of the cabinets to get new countertops?
Because they had to put it on the. I don't know. They had to get underneath to attach them. I don't understand. I'm not in the stone-mason trades.
The countertop guys are just messing with Andy.
Yeah, I think they just messed with me, honestly, just to see. We'll see if he does.
How far they can go.
Hey, yeah, you gotta turn off all your water and power too. That wasn't a thing. So, all right. With that, we'll call it a week. We'll call it a day. Thanks for everyone. Hit the thumbs up. If you're listening to this in podcast form, leave a review. Write something nice about my hat, or tell Matt that it's going to be all right down there in Chicago. The Bears are going to be fine. I think they win 6 games this year. But let's go. Weekend. See you guys.